Hey everybody, welcome back to What the Hell, Vedika. I'm Mike Janda. I'm here with no guest. And the reason is because something happened in the design community yesterday that I'm gonna give you some hot takes on. Affinity Designer announced that they will be free forever, free always, free to download, free to use. They used the word free so many times in this announcement. It was like free. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this. How can they give away a product for free and to sustain a business?
Join Mike Janda and guests to discuss the things that make creative people say, "What the hell, Vedika?"
And is that not the ultimate race to the bottom if you're trying to gobble up market share? Let's talk about what they might be thinking in the background and how this might play out for them. Couple interesting thoughts. I was asked about this like 3 times yesterday, and I have some passionate thoughts. And instead of just replying to everybody, I was gonna put those into this video. All right, here we go. I don't know the data. I don't know all the data, but I definitely have opinions. And here's the first point. I've got my notes right here. The first point on this is I did look up some data, but I don't know all the data for Affinity Designer. I don't know all the data for Adobe or for Figma, but those are the 3 players in the creative tool space. Now, Canva is there playing, but Canva and Affinity Designer is the same company. Canva bought Affinity Designer and owns that property. All right, here's the user bases as of right now, according to my research. Affinity Designer and the broader Affinity suite has more than 3 million users around the world, according to a press release that they had. In older sources, it said more than 6 million users, at least one of the Affinity products. So we have 2 data points here that have been announced or released. 6 million users at one point, 3 million users around the world at a more recent point. Did their numbers get cut in half? Were they making a play and it was 6 million and now it's 3 million? I don't know. I don't know the data, but that's the research that I found. Okay, so keep in mind, we got 3 million Affinity users. Figma has 4 million users in an older estimate, but they have, according to 2025 filing, they have 13 million monthly active users. Now, monthly active users are paying a subscription fee. So you got Affinity Designer that was a purchase price, a solo one-time purchase price, or you could buy a lifetime. There are a couple different models that they had, but you buy it, you download it, like the old days of software. Figma is a subscription-based model. A one-time purchase price at a declining 3 million is a big hit in revenue because you're not releasing a new one every month for people to rebuy. So Affinity Designer has been the I'm anti-subscription model. Figma and Adobe play the subscription game, therefore generating significantly more revenue to their business. So Figma with 13 million monthly active subscribing users compared to Affinity's 3 million one-time purchase user audience. And then you got Adobe Creative Cloud. Now, in 2021, Adobe had 22 million subscribers, and now it is estimated that it is 32 to 33 million subscribers in 2025. So think this through. So an older press release for Affinity Designer said 6 million. Now the more recent data says 3 million. Meanwhile, in a similar time span, Adobe Creative Cloud says they were 22 million, and now they're up by 10, 11 million to 32, 33 million. Okay, so Adobe gaining market share, Affinity declining market share, Figma coming hot on the trail of Adobe, now with 13 million monthly active users as of their 2025. That's almost half of what Adobe Creative Cloud has. So Adobe's fear is Figma. Affinity Designer is so off the radar or so far behind that they have to do something to disrupt. And disrupting is not going and making a subscription model, which was the rumor mill for the last little bit. People were like, oh, Affinity, they're getting a big announcement. It's going to be subscription. I know it's going to be a subscription. That's what people were saying. Okay, so that is point number one. Look at the data that we have to work with. Now, again, I don't have any insider knowledge of any of the data. I'm just doing a little research here on the interweb, and that is what we have. Adobe, double Figma. Figma is 4 times the size user base as Affinity Designer, and 1/10 the user base of Adobe, and Adobe and Figma both have subscription fees. Okay, the next thing that I am going to talk about is Affinity Designer's position in the market. Now, they have been known somewhat intentionally and somewhat just in the way that the creative industry has perceived Affinity Designer. They've been known as, if you hate Adobe and you hate a subscription model, go to Affinity Designer. They're one-time fee, just like the old days. So that's been the model. It's been the anti-subscription place to go for creatives. They've also been the pro artist anti-AI software choice. So if you're mad at Adobe for embracing AI and generative AI, go to Affinity Designer. It's just like the old days. You, the human, are the creator. So that's been their position in the market. Now, Figma's coming in and gobbling up things. I mean, they own the UX space to the point where Adobe just backed out. They just dropped Adobe XD and said, okay, fine, Figma, we couldn't buy you. You're in charge of the UX, UI design content. You're the tool. We'll let you in there. And then Figma uses their revenue to go start building more tools to compete directly with some of Adobe's tools, vector art. You've got Figma slides and Figma sites you can just publish to your website from Figma. Anyway, they're playing the game to win, and they've got monthly revenue to do it. Okay, so Affinity Designer is the anti-Figma, anti-AI, anti-Adobe, anti-AI position in the market. The pro-human artist, pro-human creator. That's been their position, and it's been so entrenched that if Affinity embraced AI or subscriptions, then they would just be following the pack, and then the users of Affinity Designer have nowhere to go. They are there because no subscription, no AI. So Affinity Designer has to play a careful game in how they're going to generate revenue, because they can't do it the way that the other companies are doing it with AI subscription. And let's talk about the anti-Adobe crowd. People are mad at Adobe for monopolistic behavior over all these years of buying up their competitors, of dominating the market, and of charging whatever they want, etc. So, and I get that stuff. I mean, man, Adobe's had all the power for so long. Figma is chomping. But Affinity, where do they fit in this market that is crowded by Adobe and Figma? Okay, so what do? They announce that it is going to be free. Free for everybody, free always, free forever. That is Affinity Designer. But if you paid attention to the announcement, they said, now, if you want to use Canva's AI tools, you'll need a Canva Premium or Pro subscription to be able to do that. So Affinity Designer still has no AI tools. They are not embracing AI tools, but you can use your Canva AI tools. Now let's think this through. Canva owns Affinity. They could have just taken those tools and stuck them in Affinity, but then they're going to piss off the users who are anti-AI. So they could have done that. They could have said, we're going to charge a subscription, but they already own Canva. Canva owns Affinity, and they charge a subscription. So there is a subscription model in the family of Affinity Designer, and it is under the Canva bundle. Now, I love Canva. Canva took a few years to catch speed, but I've been paying for Canva for like 2.5, 3 years. Every month, I barely use it, but I want them to have my $15 or $30 now because I pay for it for one of my team members. So $30 a month, I just am given to Canva because I want their business to succeed, even though I barely use the product. I use it for 1 or 2 little things. Not enough to even be worth the $30 per month, but I love it. And I thought it was interesting that Canva was all in on AI shortly after Adobe went all in on AI. Okay, so Affinity has to walk this tightrope. So why are they giving it away for free? What is the point of that? And I thought about this when I very first saw the announcement. I'm like, it's a loss leader. It is a loss leader. It is the freemium product that gets you into the infrastructure so that you buy, because you cannot run this product for free. You cannot develop it. You cannot enhance it, improve it. If you don't have any revenue, that product is going to die. But Affinity is declining in user base, so they don't have the revenue to bring in. So they are limited by their previous positions of anti-AI, anti-subscription. They are limited in their choices. And what I perceive that they did is make a loss leader. Come and join Affinity. You can get it for free, and then we'll upsell you into the AI tools. Now let's talk about AI tools for a second. Adobe has gone all in and embraced AI tools. If you haven't watched Adobe Max announcements from this same week, they're announcing more and more AI tools. It's freaking everywhere in their software. They got make a PNG and turn people around. I had a guy, this is like 1998, and we had a photo from these people, students in front of a school. It was a university. I did a brochure or something for them. And the one lady was like, hey, can you make this guy he has his back turned a little, can you make him facing forward? This is asked in 1998. I'm like, no, you can't turn somebody around in a photo, but you can now. Adobe can do that for you now as of yesterday's announcements from Adobe at Adobe Max. So Affinity has to compete, or if they're going to compete as a product, they have to embrace AI. They have to, because Adobe is so far ahead in the AI usage, and it's not going anywhere. But Affinity, because they put the line in the sand and said we're anti-AI, or they're perceived as anti-AI, and they're anti-subscription, what do? They're going to give it away as a loss leader, and then you can use the AI tools if you want, but that's through a Canva subscription. So is Affinity Designer really free? It is if you just want to make art using the tool. You want to make art? Then yes, it's for free. If you want to be a designer and compete where speed to market is so critical, and somebody can use Adobe software and get the work done faster, they are going to win. The speed to market, so fast, so critical. And if you're going to hand do it in Affinity Designer, when somebody else can use AI tools to rotate somebody in a photo, you're going to lose. You are going to lose. So I think back too on some of this, and I know some of what I'm saying here is ramble. I don't have a structure around this. I just want to get my raw thoughts out to you. If you go back in time, when people started doing search engine optimization, I mean, I was a freaking web designer back at the start of web design. It was like 1997. I had my first paid website project. Might have even been end of 1996. Anyway, so this is the beginning of it all. And I remember when search engine optimization started to become a thing. And a lot of these SEO companies were like, hey, we'll design your site for free. And then you just pay $3,000 a month for an SEO subscription and we'll get you ranked. So the free website was a loss leader. Now, my agency built websites for money. So how can I compete in a world where the SEO company is giving a website away for free and my websites cost money, and I don't have a subscription model that I funnel those people into? Well, there's a difference between a free website and a paid website. The quality is different. We would put in all of the phases and the UX and the UI design and mood boards and the whole structure around it. And what you would get for a free website was so far inferior to what we were creating as a paid website. But the SEO companies got a lot of subscribers to SEO monthly engagements because they used a free website as a loss leader. And that's what I see Affinity Designer doing here. It's a loss leader. It pulls you in and maybe, if they're lucky, gets you to cancel your Adobe subscription and hate Adobe because they're a subscription, they're monopolistic, and they use AI, and you hate them. So you leave and you go to Affinity Designer because it's free. I will quit Adobe today. I saw some people comment things like that. I'll quit Adobe today. But at the end of the day, you're using Affinity Designer to do things the old way, and the Adobe people are using AI tools to get the work done faster and oftentimes better than the manual way that you had to do things of old. So at some point, if you want to compete, this is likely what I think Affinity Designer team is thinking, you're going to have to pay for the AI tools, or at least a percentage of our users will pay for it. So let's say that Affinity Designer has 3 million users right now, and now that it's free, they double. They get back to the 6 million they once had. They're back. Wow, they doubled their user base. And let's say that you get half of those people to buy a Canva premium plan so that they can use the AI tools. You just got potentially 1.5 million new subscribers to Canva Premium. And that has to be the model that they're playing here, because they cannot sustain a business or a product with free. Now, I get why people are mad at Adobe, and I get why people are mad at AI, people in the creative community. I get it. But I'm a realist, and it's not going anywhere, and it makes my output faster. It makes my output better. So I have no choice but to embrace some of these AI tools. Now, AI generation, image generation, and video generation. I use it for fun and for humor and for things that I never would produce otherwise. I like making Sora 2 videos right now. And I got some humdingers coming for you that I haven't posted. Okay, but I like it for what it is. I would not use it for the hero image on a website that we're doing for Disney. And Disney was my biggest client at my agency for years and years, for my whole agency run. 13 years, Disney was my biggest client. I would not use an AI image on a hero image on a Disney website that we were designing and building for them. I would not do it. So there's a place for the AI to work. There's a place that it doesn't. It's not appropriate. But it is the way that things are going to be created for a lot of businesses that do not care about the copyright in the future. So I'm an AI realist. It's the game. This is where we are. So, and if you want to compete, it's going to get the speed to market faster. And if you don't use it, you're going to be slower than the people who do. And then that's going to be trouble for you because your turnaround times are going to be slower. And that's what's going to happen, in my opinion, to the people who use Affinity Designer and can't get the speed to market. Now, there are different types of design. There's the artistic, illustrative, logo design. And I get it, man. Logo designers, you don't need an AI tool. It's helpful, but you don't need it to design a logo. If you're an illustrative, hand-drawn, illustrative style designer, then yeah, maybe switching to Affinity Designer is great. You're not going to see any delay in production for you. It's going to be great because you don't need the AI tools. But if you are designing brochures for your client and you need generative images, or you need to turn somebody's back to the front in a photo that your client asks you for, like mine did in 1998, then how are you going to do that? In Affinity Designer, you're going to be forced into, in order to compete, if you abandon Adobe, you're going to be forced to use the AI tools or upgrade to the AI tools in Affinity Designer, or pay for a new photo shoot. That was how we had to do it back in the day. Or tell your client you can't do that. Sorry, you can't turn somebody around in a photo. It just can't happen. Can now. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. Affinity Designer, you get hooked, you upgrade to Canva AI. But hey, Affinity Designer still gets the power of saying we're anti-AI, we're anti-subscription, but really it's just a loss leader into Canva's AI and Canva's subscription. So are you getting bait and switched here? Are you falling for the unknown model of saying Affinity Designer, that's the pure place for artists? Is it? Is it the pure place for artists? Or is it just a loss leader into Canva's paid tools that directly compete with Adobe's paid tools? I think it's the latter. I think that it's not, it's a loss leader. It's a marketing ploy. You're getting sucked in. And yes, some of you will not have to pay for the subscription or the AI tools, but most of you are going to have to. Most of you are going to have to in order to compete with Adobe. So how is it any different? How is it any different than just keeping your Adobe subscription and embracing the way that the world is right now for the creative industry? I don't think it is. It's a, I don't want to say sneaky because it's not sneaky. If you understand business, you can see some of it. It's not sneaky. It is the only way for them to disrupt. That's the only play that they have. And I can imagine sitting in the strategy meetings with the Affinity Designer team and putting on the board. I've been in these kinds of meetings with a lot of big businesses, putting on the board, hey, what is it that, what are our ways to survive here now that our user base is half of what it was? How are we going to make it? And then you put the list up there and you hash them out, and then you do some research, and then you do some data testing, and then you do some market testing and get some surveys and qualitative feedback and things from creatives. That's what you do. And then you make a big business decision and you try and disrupt to stay relevant. And I applaud Affinity Designer for this ballsy move, because it is ballsy to go and take a product that used to generate revenue and now turn it into a loss leader. That's ballsy. Good for you. You have to do that kind of stuff sometimes or you're in trouble in business. So I applaud that. But at the end of the day, are you going to just end up spending the same amount as you do for Adobe? You probably are. And are you going to end up in a subscription for Canva and you're going to think that it's anti-AI or anti-subscription Affinity Designer, but yeah, you're in a Canva subscription with Canva AI. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that there's some things to think about in this. I worry too about this aspect. If you're not generating revenue, how do you upgrade the product at a speed that competes with the speed that Adobe is upgrading their product line right now, and Figma? Both of them, their annual updates are significant, big. Affinity Designer's big update this year was now it's going to be free. It was not, here are 70 new tools that are shattering to the way that things were done in the past. Anyway, okay, I am rooting for Affinity Designer. I'll just be honest about that. I root for business. I'm excited, man. Let's see how this plays out. But don't see it for something it's not. It is a loss leader into paid subscriptions for AI and for subscription model in Canva. It is a loss leader for that. So see it for what it is and then use it. But don't think that you're the anti-subscription person or the anti-AI person, or that you're all about the human artist person. The only way to be the all about the human artist person is really to just get out your pencil and use a piece of paper. Otherwise, you're using tools that are part of this ecosystem that is designed to suck money out of you to be a creator. That's what all of them are. And you could go and say that computer-generated art, then this was a thing back in the day for those of you that are too young to know. But it was, computers are going to steal the real artist. We don't have typesetters anymore putting metal blocks into a letterpress. They exist for an artistic play or a retro design, but not in the masses like they did 100 years ago. It's all computerized now. So you're already in the computer-generated infrastructure paying money to companies who have made your life easier. And I think that this is something too. And people are anti-AI, or anti-AI, anti-subscription, anti-Adobe. Adobe, they're just the monopoly. They're making so much money off of everybody. I hate Adobe. Man, I made freaking millions of dollars using Adobe's tools for the price of 60 or 70 bucks a month. It is the greatest investment ever. You look back at your creative career, your ability to make money using an Adobe subscription that you pay 60, 70, $100 a month for. And you can make literally millions of dollars using that for 60, 70 bucks a month. Sign me up. That is a great investment. And so I have no problem with that. I also have no problem with AI, ethical AI, ethical. And things are getting better. There's pushback and things are getting better. And I get content violations on some of the things when I put in a prompt for generating my crazy Sora 2 videos. I get content violations. Sorry, we cannot do that because they can't let you do certain things in there. There's certain words or things in the prompts that flag it, and then you can't do that. So things are getting better from an ethical standpoint in the AI world. All right, let me just be clear on this too. Okay, let me say a couple pro things for Adobe. And I'm an entrepreneur, and Adobe has done a pretty amazing job. And I like Adobe more now that Figma is in the game. Because in the past, in my career, I saw Aldus, and Aldus, I think, got bought by Macromedia, and Macromedia got bought by Adobe, and Adobe was just gobbling up their competitors. And for the last, 10, 15 years, there have been a kind of revolving door of competitors for Adobe that have come and gone. Sketch, as an example, used to be a big thing. UX, got to use Sketch. Then Adobe comes out with Adobe XD and starts to play them. And then all of a sudden, Figma pops up, and Figma does it better in so many ways. And then Adobe's trying to buy Figma the same way that they have done to Macromedias of the past. Buy them so that we are a monopoly and we don't have somebody taking our business or our market share. As a capitalist, as an entrepreneur, Adobe's done some great things to build this massive company, and they've made it so that I and millions of other creatives in the world have made millions of dollars, thousands of dollars. Most of you listening to my content have made thousands of dollars in trade for your tens of dollars a month for an Adobe subscription. Why are you so mad? Why are you so mad? And I get it that they're embracing AI and image generation. Well, if that's the case, if you're mad about that, then you got to quit Facebook because they're embracing it. You got to quit Apple because they're embracing it. You got to drop Google. You got to drop everybody and go get off the grid. If you're anti-AI in Adobe, and even if you're anti-generative AI in Adobe, well, that's not where the thread stops being pulled. You've got to quit a whole bunch of other things in order to fully embrace your position. So go do that. Go do that. Otherwise, accept reality for what it is and then figure out for yourself, how do I make this work in my business in an ethical way that I feel okay about? That's the question you got to answer for yourself, because the thing is not going away. The AI is not going away. And the subscription is not going away. Even Affinity designer is sneaking it in there on you as a loss leader. Okay, let me just scrub through my notes here and see if I got anything else that I wanted to say. Again, let me just reiterate, I do not have the data. I was not in the meetings. I'm making some speculations here on what they're thinking, what they're doing, just from what I see in the market. This is my opinion. And if you want to hate on my opinion, well, you're not the first person. At least I freaking post my opinion. So post yours. But you don't have to hate me. I think this is a problem. Let me just talk to society for a second. you can disagree with somebody's opinion. You don't have to hate the person. So be careful. Be careful on how you present your opinion, if it is attacking someone else or if it is just representing your own opinion here. Okay, so be careful. Man, I'm sensitive. Don't drop a bunch of comments in there that freaking gonna wreck my day. I'm sensitive, just like you. And I'm gonna say this too, for all you haters out there, freaking do not comment on this video or this podcast episode if you don't at least put your face in the freaking profile picture. Do not comment on this with a contrary opinion unless you got your face in there. Show yourself. Stand up for behind your thoughts. Come on, people. I'm up here making a whole video about this. You can see my bearded face right now. I'm making a whole video about this. You can at least put your freaking photo in your comment on this subject. All right. It's an advertising vehicle. I hit that home. Adobe is still king. They're so far ahead. This is going to be a tough one. It's already tough for Affinity Designer. Already tough. And I like that they're trying to disrupt. It's the only play they have left. Let me talk about this last little thing here, because I didn't mention it. Isn't this the greatest race to the bottom of all time? Like, people are like, ooh, pricing, don't go lower, don't go lower, don't go lower. Charge your worth is the value-based pricing mantra that you hear from so many creative business leaders. Charge your worth, charge your worth. But when it comes to, and you want to charge your worth. But when it comes to paying the worth, you're complaining about Adobe's subscription model. So you want to charge your worth to your clients, but you don't want to pay your worth to Adobe. If you were paying your worth to Adobe in the subscription, or Figma or Canva, it would cost a lot more than the $15, $30, $60, $100 a month that you pay. It is worth way more than what they charge. So they're not even charging your worth, and you cannot go wander around saying to others, charge your worth, and then say, but don't sign up for Adobe and their subscription model. How is that fair? Charge your worth, pay your worth. Little nugget for you there. Why are you going to quit because you're mad about the subscription? If Affinity Designer announced yesterday that they were going to be a subscription model, they would alienate their user base and decline in market share. That's what would have happened. So they have to go with the only play left. We can't charge a subscription at all, so we're going to just be free. How do we make that model work? That's the thing. But that's the ultimate race to the bottom. They got bullied so hard about subscription fees, and they position themselves so definitively as the anti-subscription, anti-AI, that they do not have a place to play other than this disruptive model of free. It's going to be tough. It's tough to play. It's tough to run a business that gives away their thing for free. How did Facebook do it? Advertising. So what is Affinity Designer? It's an advertisement for you to buy a Canva and an AI subscription through Canva. That's what it is. Okay. All right. That's a blah, blah, blah. That's enough for today. Just some random, super raw thoughts on this whole thing. I didn't really plan it ahead. I'm passionate about all this kind of stuff, and so I just like to ramble on. How long was this even? Freaking 33 minutes of just me rambling on. Well, hopefully you got a couple nuggets out of this video. Thanks so much for listening. Share your thoughts in the comments. I love to hear that. And hit the like, subscribe, and follow and all that jazz on this podcast, What the Hell Vetica. And I have a lot of guests. I got 2 in the can of episodes coming. I'm trying to get more consistent, but I'm also writing a book right now that's going to come out in the next couple weeks. So got a lot I'm juggling. So stay with me. Hope you like this video and have some random thoughts, and we will see you all again on another episode. Thanks.